nostalgia in here.
Corey's in
This
the
is
Wayback
the
Machine
Grow
right now.
Business Podcast
Looking at
with
nostalgia.
Cory Mosley.
Nostalgia.
Yeah, you go down a rabbit hole.
Gonna
You
get a
start
tear here in a minute, right? Get a little...
looking at pictures.
It's easy to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see what the...
Well, you start looking back, you're like, oh man, there's me and Mike Tyson. Look, there's me and Mike Tyson.
Look at you.
Look, Mike Tyson.
All right.
Yeah, look at me. I'm big as a house in that picture. I don't even want to look at any of these photos. Holy goodness.
Where'd you meet Mike Tyson?
LL Cool J.
Oh,
LL Cool J. We'll have a nostalgia show on another episode, but
talk about a sustainable career.
Yeah, right.
LL Cool's
Yeah. Amazing. Still doing it. Still doing it. And speaking of still doing it, we're still doing it.
We're still doing it.
We're still here. We're marching to 100.
Indeed.
It seems so far away.
Be here before you know it.
It really does. It's almost like, you know what? We need to do this 5 days a week just so we can get just so we can get to 100.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
magic.
Right.
Magic.
We'll start elbowing our way
That's
to
when
the
the
top.
magic happens.
That's
Yeah.
right. Start
Can
elbowing
you
our way to
imagine
the top.
5 days a week? Holy moly.
Lord have mercy.
Huh? We need that Stephen A. Smith money.
Yeah.
Did somebody say, I don't follow it. Did somebody say they paid him $100 million?
I don't know what it was, but I heard he had a big number.
Oh, for how many years? Over what period of time is that? 4 years? 4 years. That's player. That's it. That's like baseball player star recruit money.
All I can say is good for him.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a fan. I don't really watch ESPN at all.
Right.
But it's a 5-year, $100 million, that's $20 million. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Lon, we got to get more controversial. We just got to start saying anything.
We got to screaming and yelling.
Yeah. We got to start screaming and yelling and looking dead in the camera, one over here, and just talking to it and just we gotta. These tips ain't cutting it. We got to get.
Right.
We gotta just start saying some outrageous. I'm gonna task you with that.
Some outrageous.
Come up with some outrageous things for us to start saying, so we can get this level of distribution.
I'll do some research. Lord have mercy.
Okay. Well, for those of you that don't know, you have arrived. You have arrived at the Grow Business Podcast. I'm your host, Cory Mosley, joined by my guy. If I was in a motorcycle, you'd be in that thing that's on the side of it. You'd be in the sidecar. My sidecar guy, LG007 Lon Graham is here.
Voice of reason.
Good to be here.
And the man, we're going. I think we're going for 2 weeks. Trying to go for 2 weeks in a row with the good sound and the good noises.
Right.
The good noises. Willie H is here.
Hit the buttons, William.
Coming out of the gate.
Willie H, who's getting referred to as Willie H.
Is that right?
In certain corridors, yeah. When we've seen out. And say, wait a minute, you mean Willie H?
Oh, wow. How about that?
His dad calls him Willie H now.
Oh, my goodness. That's awesome.
That was great.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I love when names stick.
Well, especially when they stick from here, right? Because that means people are listening.
I love when I give people a name and it sticks.
Right.
For years and years to come.
In perpetuity.
Well, we are super excited. Yeah, we're super excited to hear you. We're super excited to have you on the Grow Business Podcast.
Yay.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, okay. There we go. And he's getting real frisky there. We're super excited to have you here. If this is your first time listening, welcome. We hope you enjoy. Come in. The water's fine. Isn't that what they
Something
say?
like that. Come in, the water's warm.
Come on in.
The
water. Come on in. The water's fine. Now, I got that from. I don't know why. There's weird things like Willie H and I. We have this thing where we talk in movie terms,
right?
And terminology. Now he's not going to know where that quote is from. This movie, because it wasn't I thought it was a good movie, but it was not widely successful.
Okay.
But that I got that statement from a movie called The Glimmer Man.
Okay.
Which starred Steven Seagal.
Okay.
I think before he went bat crazy. And Keenan Ivory Wayans.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they were police detectives and hunting down this serial killer.
Okay.
And there was, some CIA stuff involved or whatever. So one of the guys that ultimately Steven Seagal needed to kill because he was the ultimate bad guy from the CIA, was in the water, and they were having a conversation. He was in a pool.
Okay.
And he said, after Steven was saying whatever he was saying, he was like, "Oh, don't worry, everything's handled. Come on in. The water's fine. Come on in."
Good. Yeah.
Later near the end, Steven Seagal, pop.
Yeah, he had a good run.
Hit him with the pop.
He had a good run for,
Yeah. Aikido. He's in Russia now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he repatriated.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for Steven Seagal.
Right?
Well, anyway,
right.
The good news is we're not talking about movies. We don't have a movie show. This is a business growth show.
Right.
And we work to help you grow your business based upon our 5 pillars of business growth, which are mindset, sales, marketing, operations, and people. We based that theory, which was the basis for my book, Position for Growth, which is in store now. I encourage you to get a copy if you're looking to grow your business. Get it on Amazon or visit CoryMosley.com and purchase it there. Signed copies while in stock. Stock is getting low. Got some conventions coming up.
Good.
Excited about that. Going to be spreading the gospel.
There you go.
The gospel of business growth. So, as always, we target a topic every week. And I don't know what topic. Okay, I think I know what I'm topic. What do you think? What do you think we're doing?
So we did sales last time.
Yeah.
Operating under the expectation that we're going to do a different topic this week, which, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
Let's go with marketing.
You know what?
What?
You looked at my
Bingo.
No.
You looked at my laptop.
I did not.
I gotta watch you. I gotta go back to doing this here. When you're going by trying to see what's going on.
ESPN, Cory, come on now.
Yeah. Right. That's it. All right. Yes, folks. We're talking about marketing today, specifically. As we get out of the first quarter.
Okay.
Right. We'll be coming out of the first quarter shortly in a few weeks. People kind of go into the first of the year, the goals and things. And then, you get out of the first quarter, you start to assess, as you should be doing anyway. You should be looking at, what's going on with your business anyway. So the context now is, I think this is perfect timing also.
Okay. Because
sometimes you make decisions for a lot of different reasons. Also, if your business is very mature, meaning it's been around for a while, a lot of times certain complacency can settle in. Certain opportunities maybe get missed because you are settled in.
Right.
And I do think it's a fine line between, missing opportunities, but then doing too much too, right? So
Correct.
I would be alarmed if my favorite ice cream shop all of a sudden started selling potato chips.
Right.
Right. It wouldn't kind of make sense.
Doesn't, yeah.
Now I can make the argument, well, we already have a storefront, we already have foot traffic, we already have customers.
Right.
So, that would be great. But, maybe come up with some better different flavors of ice cream instead of, doing a whole. So there's a fine line.
Correct.
To look at that. So what we want to look at is talking about, some tips on refining your offer.
Okay.
Like what you're offering and how to enhance what we call USP, your unique selling proposition, right? Also, why buy it? It has different names on it.
Correct.
Because I think a lot of times, there's this, term, you're going to ride the thing till the wheels fall off. So I think a lot of people sometimes take that approach.
Yeah.
And, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. All these other pithy things.
Right.
But, disruption is imminent.
Yes.
I don't know any industry that is not getting disrupted or about to be disrupted in some different way.
Right.
And, having visibility on that and having kind of, a perspective, I think can be, important.
Well, I mean, all you got to do is look across the street from where we live and look at disruption. Barnes & Noble had this great 2-story footprint for a long time. And because of the online marketplace, because of things that happened during COVID, they closed that space.
Right.
And they're now reopening in a space that's like the third of the size that they had.
Right.
But it's because of disruption and the way the marketplace changed. They realized that space.
I still like a nice trip to Barnes & Noble's though.
Oh, I do too.
My wife and I love that. Go and, you still have the cafe. I mean, that used to be the thing. Like that was the original Starbucks.
Right.
like the where you went to do your work and get on Wi-Fi and have a call. That was the original play.
Right.
Barnes and Nobles was the spot that you went before you had these other things. But yeah, that's a good business case too to think about, because like their whole evolution with the kid. No, they didn't have the Kindle. That's Amazon.
Amazon's got the Kindle.
Yeah, what did they have? The Nook.
The Nook,
yeah,
right.
see, like we don't even think about it anymore.
Right.
And they went all in, dude. There was a time when the whole Barnes and Nobles was a Nook.
Right.
It was like, you came for books?
Right, exactly.
I don't know if we have any of those. We got Nooks. So.
So we don't have books, we got Nooks. That's
yeah,
right.
yeah.
We got Nooks for you to
Yeah, so it's kind of like
Nook.
in retrospect, was that, I'm sure there's a case study somewhere there, but
Sure.
But we want to talk about you. So this idea of unique selling proposition, refining your offer, is it a good time to look at that? And what are some of those elements to do that? So we've got a couple things that we want to jump into. Now, when I think about that, what are some of your thoughts before I even get into the list? What are some of the things that come to mind when you think about that?
Well, I think I think we always want to be looking at your messaging. We're talking about marketing. You always want to be looking at your messaging. Are you clearly articulating your message to your ideal client?
Yeah.
Do the people who you are targeting know that you're targeting them?
Right.
And I think this is, as we go from Q1 into Q2, it's a good opportunity, because we talked at the beginning of the year about marketing and mindset and being clear. And I think this is a good opportunity to really evaluate, are you being clear in your messaging?
Right.
So that the people that you are attracting or trying to attract, your ideal client, knows you're attracting them.
And I think, and we've talked about this before.
Mm-hmm.
You can't look through your lens
Right.
if you're not your customer.
Right.
So, oh, Cory, I don't like, or I don't think, or this isn't about you.
Right.
It's about your customer.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if I decided to get into the bird seed business, I don't own birds. I'm not interested in birds,
Right.
but maybe there's a good business opportunity.
Right.
Well, I can't go make marketing decisions based on my lack of love for birds.
Right. Yeah.
I've got to make decisions on content and these things based on bird lovers. And I'm going to be the holistic, all natural, organic, BPA-free, taste-free seed guy.
Right.
Right. And I want to tell you about all the bad things that are in the seed and why you need to go with our seed. Right. I've got to become that person for that audience.
Correct.
I don't have the luxury of just saying, oh, you know what? I mean, here it is. You like it?
Right.
If I want to sell a lot of it, like I have to
Right.
take on the persona, right? Which is why we talk about avatars and ideal customer profile, CP, and all those things.
Right.
That's the value there, because what it allows you to do now, when you go make a marketing decision, it's simplified, because all I need to do is go, does this match the profile?
Correct.
Not my personal feelings.
Correct. Is it going to attract the customer
Right.
or the client that I'm looking to attract?
Right.
100%.
Oh, my favorite color is pink. So that's why I should have my brand, even though it doesn't correspond. I've got a muscle gym, and all of my branding's in pink, because that's my favorite color.
Right.
Right. I mean, it just doesn't.
Right.
It just doesn't
You
correspond.
you look like a lingerie store, not a gym.
Right. Correct.
That bad.
Yes, that bad. Okay. So let's go with let's talk about so first, clarifying your core value proposition.
Okay.
Right. So
Yes.
identifying a specific problem that your business solves.
Yes.
And what's so amazing to me is I hear this, and I think sometimes it's just who you need to hear it from,
Right.
or how you need to hear something. Right. Because there's things that you could tell people and then they don't get it. Then, people, when I would work with certain organizations, and I'll come in with an idea or strategy, someone in the meeting will pull me aside and I had that idea 6 months ago and nobody would listen to me, but you come in and now now they're doing it. Okay.
Right.
Guess you didn't make the case. Guess there's I don't know what their opinion of your opinions are.
Right.
Maybe you need to work on that.
Right.
But nonetheless, here we are.
Well, and I think too, sometimes you're ready to hear things differently because of what you've experienced over
Right.
the past 6 months. I mean, I think back when I first started looking at, okay, when I wanted, as a speaker, I was focused really on solutions and solutions and solutions. But unless you identify the problems for that solution, it took me a long time to come around to really focusing on what is the problem that I solve, not what am I doing to solve it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've got to navigate through that. You know, when we've talked about Donna Miller's story brand, it's the same concept. You're, in the hero's journey and all of these things that we, are inherent in how we communicate. Right. But I think sometimes it's about when you hear it, are you ready to hear it, and what has changed since the last time you heard it?
Right.
Voice of reason.
Well, and also the delivery, right? So when when you drop the voice down and you start dropping some knowledge, maybe people listen differently.
Well, right. I
think our female listeners is going up. The rate of female listeners is going up.
Perfect.
Lon Graham, Quiet Storm and podcaster. The Quiet Storm podcaster, right?
You better believe it.
Well, it's the case, right? Don't raise your voice, raise the quality of your content, or raise the quality of your argument. No,
100%. 100%. But sometimes the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
That's correct.
Right?
100%.
So that's it truly is it truly is what philosophy that you want to go with.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of people who, bulldog their way to success.
Right.
And then there's some people that have more of a finesse method. Who's right, who's wrong, if they can both get to the same destination, right?
Right. As long as it's right for you, it's right.
Yeah. I mean, and
your client.
The value is there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I was having this conversation with a new client, and he was telling me all the things that he does. And he said, what do you think? I said, well, I don't have your money yet, so I'm going to wait until you pay. Then I'll give you my thoughts, just in case you want your money back after I give you my unfiltered thoughts. No, but I said, you're trying to do too much.
Yeah.
There's no way you're going to execute, unless you tell me you've got $1 million to burn. Right. There's no way you're going to execute the strategy on all those things that you can do.
Right.
There's no way you're going to be able to serve all of those audiences.
I mean, that's the reality of it, right, Cory? Is who can you do a great job with, and then you can build, but do a great job for one audience,
right?
And then if you want to expand, do a great job for the people that like going back to your ice cream store, right? Mm-hmm. Do a great job for the people who like vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, and then you want to attract some more people. Well, then add some flavors. Add a
Pecan Jacks now over 30 flavors.
I tried to set you up there.
Yeah. That's right. PecanJacks.com now over 30 flavors.
Right.
Get to a location near you. That's it.
Soon.
I'm working on my sponsored segments.
There you go.
On our sponsored segments.
That's all right. Anywhere you get it.
Do you love ice cream?
Well,
ice cream can be your friend if you let it.
Right.
At Pecan Jacks.
There you go.
We serve up the most delectable, handcrafted chocolates, ice creams, pralines, and brittles.
Right.
Like that.
That flavor profile, though, right? So you're attacking, you're not attacking, but you're going after a flavor profile for people that like that flavor profile.
Well, the beauty of it is when you're happy, it's time for ice cream. Right. When you're sad, it's time for ice cream.
Correct.
When you have no emotions whatsoever, time for ice cream.
It's always a good time for ice cream.
That's right.
It is always a good time for ice cream.
That is right.
Yeah.
All right. So identify a specific problem. So clarify your core value proposition. Within that, identifying the specific problem your business solves. Focus on tangible benefits. This is so important because this leads into this idea of why you.
Right.
And I think people suck at competitive advantage conversation.
Right.
And then they say weak things like, well, I don't really want to talk negative about my competition. And you don't have to talk negative about your competition to talk positively about your company and brand.
100%. And I think too, one of the things that people do, and salespeople do it, and I catch myself doing it too every once in a while, is you start throwing too many benefits and they lose value.
Right.
Because you're making so much noise at your ideal client that, like, well, we do this and this and this and this and this and this, and you start to Like, well, what do you do?
Right.
You know, because they can't process all that. So I've really gotten to this point where, you know, I try and limit my benefit conversation to 3, because then it gives me an opportunity to come back. If I've got 10 benefits and I do 3 now, when I come back the next time and we have this conversation, or in a marketing campaign, if you try and include all the benefits in one shot,
Right.
they get confused. So give them a couple, come back and do another messaging with a couple more, and then continue to engage them and give them reasons to keep coming back to you.
Right. And I think in this context, though, you need to be able to answer the question, why you versus X?
100%. Yes.
Right.
This might be a guy I want to work with.
Oh, we're both good companies, and but and it's got to be real. It's got to be tangible.
Right.
We're nice people.
Right.
So like the other people aren't nice people?
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Right. Here's what I like.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Here's what I like. If people struggle, start with this. They're good, we're better, and here's why.
Yeah. I mean, I dealt with this forever in the car business. This is one of my most challenging, this constant thing, because, you know, oh, we're family owned and operated. Okay.
Right.
And what?
Right.
What does that mean?
What does that have to do with cars?
Oh, Cory, you know, our pies, our food here is homemade. Okay. I know some people making food at home that's terrible.
Right, exactly.
Like, still has to be good.
Right, does it taste good?
Yeah, it can't just be a home. Okay, great. I'm glad you did it here, but now it tastes like.
Right.
Like, it doesn't make any. So it has to have more value. You know, back to the car deal. You know, oh, we've got 3 acres of inventory. I'm only looking for 1.
Right.
So the fact you have 500 in stock, okay.
Sounds to me like you have a sales problem. Like, you got that many cars,
distressed merchandise.
Right,
could
that's
be
exactly
there, right?
right.
Right? Does that work? Right? Is that a gift or a curse? You know, in
Right.
terms of that. But but that's just intangible stuff that you can work with. You know, like we talk about that with Pecan Jacks. We just redid the loyalty program. So with the loyalty program, which used to be like you get points per visit.
Right.
But it was like, well, per visit, that doesn't, I mean, you know how many like, how do you get excited about that piece?
Right.
On when it really should be spend.
Right.
So you mean to tell me that I come in and I spend $300 for my whole family to get ice cream and candies and pie stuff, I get the same level of credit
right.
as someone who came in and got a loose gummy bear?
Right.
You know?
Well, I think that's a great example, Cory, of the way we started this is, bless you. That's a great example. The way we started this is, you know, we're finishing up Q1 and we're looking at going into Q2.
Right.
And we're looking at ways to get better at what we're doing in our messaging, in our marketing, and the way we attract clients. And so what you do when you go make it a revenue-based situation, maybe a person's 1 purchase away in that visit from reaching the next tier. Well, they're more likely to make that purchase while they're there if they're getting credit for that, for the value of the purchase instead of the trip. So that's a great example of looking at how you're doing it and making some adjustments.
Well, and I'm saying, hey, let's get with your team. Ask your team. I mean, one of the things I used to do from a consulting standpoint is I would ask each layer of employees interpretation of who they thought their customer was or what they thought a process was supposed to be inside the organization.
Okay.
And if you start getting different answers,
right.
So if you go to your team, and again, your team doesn't have to be 100 people.
Right.
You could have a 5-person team.
Correct.
This could include freelancers and people that are in your ecosystem working with you, serving your clients. Who do you think our clients are? Right. I mean, I could ask that. I could ask Willie H that conference question. I can ask you that question. I can ask. So it doesn't have to be, you know, you don't have to be running a major corporation to have this conversation. But and then using that to narrow down your target audience to determine if you need to make some changes. If you've been around a while, because customers evolve.
Right.
You know, we've talked about this. One of our clients, we added some features to their website now that are AI based, that answer frequently asked questions, that,
Sure.
And it was like, okay, well, why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this for the people who don't use the telephone.
Right.
So yes, you've got, Geraldine and Mary Sue and some of those. You just gotta pick an older name, right?
Right.
I don't know any 20-year-old Geraldines, right? But you've got that group that
Right.
still wants to use the telephone.
Right.
But then you've got the group. So now we have, one of our clients, movie company. Now they have a 24/7 quote tool.
Oh, fun.
So
okay.
at 12:30 at night, if you're up
Right.
searching for a moving company, everyone else is sending you the voicemail and asking you to fill out a form and telling you they'll
Right.
get back to you later.
Right.
Now they can actually produce a baseline quote. Has to be confirmed. Details have to be confirmed.
Right.
But you can get an instant quote. Because that's the biggest thing. Like in that context, we see on a moving company,
Right.
is how much it's going to cost.
Right.
I mean, that is the fundamental. Can you do it when are you available when I need to move, and how much it's going to cost?
Correct.
So if I can answer how much it's going to cost and then capture them, then we offer them a discount if they secure a deposit
Right.
on the spot.
Correct.
So to me, that becomes a win, but I'm not doing that for Geraldine,
Right.
because Geraldine's probably not up at 12:30 midnight on the internet putting in information on quotes.
Right.
She's calling at 9 on the dot when they first open,
Yeah.
and walking through the conversation. So you also need to have this conversation, what we're discussing, what we're talking about, for the benefit of newer markets or customers you're trying to bring in.
Correct.
Right? The Gen Zs are on the move. They're coming into these markets like Virginia, where we have rapid growth in our city.
Right.
Well, that is not just from 70-year-old people migrating in. That's industry bringing those people, bringing younger employees, bringing people who are going to be more transient. They're going to start in apartments and start to look for homes and all these other different factors, right? So that's why this isn't, Cory, why do we have to fundamentally, this has been working for 35 years. Well, that's not the point.
Right.
This is about adaptability, not necessarily changing everything you do. Now, you may be ripe for some branding changes, some other things too, but.
Well, and I think, what you just described, Cory, is expanding your reach, right? Your ideal client, so we'll use a moving example. Your ideal client is anybody that's going to move.
Mm.
Well, if there are people that are moving here, and especially in Central Virginia where we live, because of the types of businesses and industries that are coming to town, you're getting highly educated. You're getting, mid-20s to early 30s, people that are technology savvy and like to use technology. They like to use their phone to go to your website as opposed to use their phone.
Right.
Like the last thing they want to do with their phone is call you.
That's right. Yeah.
So if you're a moving company, right, exactly.
Ew.
Right. Ooh, what is
talk to people. Ew.
but people still are moving, and what you're doing is by using some of these new marketing techniques, you're expanding your reach to an audience that's going to need you.
My buddy was talking to his friend. I was on his speakerphone in the car. He was talking to his son's 17, and he was giving him instruction to call his wrestling coach about wrestling camp. You need to call your wrestling coach and get these questions answered. We got to get on top of this. We got to get the paperwork in. And he's like, all right, role play with me. What you're going to say? He's like, oh, well, I'm going to put it in a text. So I'll text it to you. You can look at it before I text him.
Right.
Like it completely went over his head.
Right.
Where my buddy's like, call the coach and have the conversation.
Right.
The word call meant text to him. Like it didn't even register.
Right.
It was always going to be a text.
Right. Well, and
that's what's crazy.
One of the people that I work with has got a same thing, like a 17-year-old son, and taking notes to her 17-year-old son is notes in the phone, not writing things down. It's, well, did you get that? Well, yeah, I wrote it down. Right. But that's writing it down in your phone. Same thing with a call. It's a text.
Right. Well, listen, that's better than trying to memorize it.
100%.
Because we've all had that waiter that swore to you swore to you that they got it up here,
Right.
and then here came the tomatoes.
The raw onions on
And
top.
now I'm wrong for getting an attitude that you got to remake. Now you got an attitude, and the chef's got an attitude. They got to remake my sandwich
Right.
because you had it all up here. Don't worry, I got it. I'm a professional.
Right. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're not. All right.
Until you're not. Right. Well,
yeah.
Bringing it back to who are you trying to reach?
Yeah.
And that's really, is the messaging reaching the audience that you want to reach?
Correct. And is there diversity in that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about diversity of how you are, the areas that you're trying to, because, you can't say words now.
Right.
Certain words are now toxic.
Right. Trigger.
So diversity in channels.
Correct.
Where you're going out to do that.
Correct.
And how you're reaching those people.
Correct.
So it's like I was having this conversation about direct mail.
Okay.
And we were talking as part of our store opening team with Pecan Jacks. We want you dropping mail to your surrounding neighbors.
Sure.
And it was this debate. Oh, mail! A lot of people. No one does mail. I said, I look at every postcard that is in my mailbox.
Yeah.
I look at every postcard.
Right.
So if a postcard comes in my mailbox, how can I not look at it? Like
You gotta touch it.
Right. Correct. It's there in the mailbox.
Right.
So like the idea that no one pays it. Now, if it's not relevant to me, then it goes in the trash.
Right.
But if it is relevant to me, I look at it and absorb the message and whether it's bring this in for 25% off or,
Right.
so like, what are we talking about here? You worked with Tommy Bahama for a number of years.
Right.
They're famous.
Oh, they're bait.
Twice a year. I mean,
Right.
they're big on the mail.
Right. That's
Like,
bait.
That thing, right? That thing comes in, and I mean, it's a price hustle. 50 off 100, nothing's 100.
Right.
It's 99.
It's 99.50.
So you have
150,
99.50. Yeah. It's a hustle, but we know what that mailer is. So I'm like, that's antiquated. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. You're opening a retail storefront.
Right.
So do we need to do a national mail drop? No. But do we need to take 1,000 zip codes?
Right.
1,000 records in your immediate area for people
Right.
that could be foot traffic customers or customers in the area and make them aware that you exist?
Right. Well, and
Tell the Valpak people that direct mail doesn't work.
correct. Well, and in addition to that, if nobody else is doing it, you're going to stand out because you do.
God forbid.
You're going to be, it's going to be, there's going to be fewer things for them to compete their attention
Right.
with.
What do you say? One of your things is yes and?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. It's not either or.
Right.
It's both.
Yeah.
Now, you can affect costs. Do we spend more on a meta campaign
Right.
to create leads than we do the mailer? Sure.
Right.
But why would you exclude that?
Right. Especially in the immediate area, you've got homes in a 2 or 3 corresponding zip codes.
Yes. Because
Correct.
otherwise, Willie H., what would be the appropriate one there?
That's just dumb.
There you go. Look at this.
He was
What is
dialed
this? Like
in.
maybe once we hit we're heading towards 70, I think.
Right.
Once you hit that, now maybe we're getting our groove.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it is. He knows what I'm thinking already.
There you go.
Do, 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 do.
Hit the buttons.
That's right.
That's right.
Telekinetics.
All right. So another one of my favorite words this year, simplification, simplify.
Right.
So let's simplify and strengthen. You used the term clear before.
Right.
The idea of clear, concise, and maybe compelling language.
Right.
I go to these websites and I still have no idea what they do or like, it's just like weird slogans that don't
Right.
connect the dots, like just climb to the top with Acme Widget Company. Like, what are we talking about here?
Work with me, brother.
Well, we were talking about, Glimmer Man and Steve Seagal and one of the Wayans. Remember in Living Color?
Sure.
That was the thing. They'd have the truck on the street corner and they'd be done. They'd say same, same time, different street corner next
Right,
time.
right.
But they would throw out all these big words that made no sense in trying to sell what was in the back of their
Right,
truck.
right.
And that's what I think about every time.
That's
I
the Don King.
Yeah.
It's a stupendous, magnanimous event that's
100%.
never been serendipitously done and will never be magnanimously done again.
Right. And they went way overboard. But the reality of it is some of these creative people that are creating content for your websites, or
Right.
some of the people that are doing it for themselves,
Right.
like, oh, wow, we get to be clever and cute. And that's going to be our distinguishing proposition.
Well, that's like the corporate talk. Well, we're working on a B2C strategy
Right.
that we're going to need to see what the B2C is. And then if we're going to go directly to, we
Right.
need to look at the over and under and then the under and over on that. We need
The
to
ratios.
we need to reacclimate and unpack for further dissection of the dichotomy that we're trying to understand to open up a new paradigm.
Right.
That should be against the law.
That's good. That's good. You
All right,
redid
yeah,
that
clear,
one.
concise. So, listen, avoiding jargon, avoiding language that
Right.
only makes sense to you or it's insider language.
Right.
That's that. It's like when they talk about. I'm not going to get into politics, but it's like when they come back and say it's the economy, stupid.
Right.
Like it's, or they use terms like kitchen table issues.
Oh, right. Okay.
Right? It's the kitchen table issues that make the difference, not these global ecosystem. It's the kitchen table. It's the idea of talking plainly.
Correct.
Now, if you're in so again, everything comes with an asterisk, right?
There's a range.
So if you're in a sophisticated business,
Right.
then you can still use language that speaks to that audience that may be I quote unquote more sophisticated,
Right.
or your product or service is more complex,
Right.
but you still would use the words that resonate. It's kind of like this is just my personal opinion with this
Right.
stuff. When we're taught in the speaking world, you're kind of well, the thing is what do you speak on, and then
Right.
we're taught I help elevate. I help elevate active members of the corporate community to unlock their fiercest potential and live their best lives. What did you just say?
Right. And who is that?
I crack up. And I'm no disrespect, sorry. I don't know. But I just don't, that's just too complicated for me.
Right. Like how can people self-identify?
Yes.
Like how can they identify that
Yes.
you're
I
looking
help
for them?
burnt out individuals reignite the flame and spark that brings them the belief that they can do anything. I empower, and I just. So you're a life coach,
Right.
Or you're, or what do you do?
Well, and let's make it.
I don't know.
And in the speaking world, that we're all famous for that at some level. But
I don't know. I've been a business growth consultant for 20 years.
right. Well,
Business growth speaker and consultant and coach.
right.
That's it. I mean,
Well, and I'll use
now,
it. I'll use
hold
it.
on. Now you go to my website. It says we help companies get positioned for growth.
Right.
Well, that's on brand, right? But that's
Consistent.
that's self-explanatory, right?
Right.
Now it's not we help businesses position themselves to reach the newest heights of success and revenue than they've ever thought possible.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna use a little bit more practical example.
Yeah.
So my dad was a controller in the Air Force. He was a finance guy, an accountant, a controller his whole career. And so I'm going to target accountants.
Oh, you got no extras.
Yeah.
Squeeze that tube. That tube's not empty. We ain't buying no more toothpaste till you get everything out of that. Nikes, you don't need Nikes. You know those materials are the same in these other sneakers. You don't need Nike Slime, you get Sykes.
Or Sears.
There you go.
But
Sears, Roebuck and
Right.
Company.
And
My first TV, I think I'm still paying for it.
those tough,
Sears credit card.
those
That was
tough
our
skins, you
first
couldn't
credit
break
card.
them. You couldn't break the tough skins either. But so let's talk about accounts for a minute. If you're an accountant and your target audience is Mary and Susie and Geraldine,
Right.
who want somebody to help them do their taxes,
Sure.
maybe get some advice, you're going to want to have more plain language in your marketing material.
Sure.
Then if you're an accountant and your targets are CFOs
Sure.
who are, same title,
Right. Sure.
different target audience, you're
Right.
going to use language differently.
Right.
And I think that's a good example of who are you trying to reach, and talk to them in language that's going to resonate with them, not the conversation you would have with another accountant about your business.
Focus on a specific niche instead of trying to serve everyone.
Yes.
So I think that's just something where this is a good opportunity to do that. I mean, you refine, it's something that I constantly have to do. There's just refining. And some of that is trial and error. So particularly if you're a newer company,
Right.
there are lanes that I'm like, oh, I think this would be a good lane. Then we got in the lane, and then the meaning is, we ain't doing this no more.
Right. That's exactly right.
We got some of that right now, actually. But you got to figure it. You're figuring that piece out, and don't be afraid to do that because, everybody's got this, burn the ship. You've got to have conviction.
Right.
The FedEx guy believed 12 times bankrupt, but he knew that FedEx was gonna. But I guarantee you that model has changed, or got has been augmented over the years in terms of what they do. Also, the business they didn't get out of, like a DHL's reputation for international, like became a specialty for them versus. So you have kind of these different dynamics there that I think are relevant.
Well, it comes back to what you said. And we did it, tried a number of different things. And this would be perfect for them. So we're going to go after them. Right. Because we know that it would be perfect for them. Right. But they don't see it that way. So you're like, okay, well, if it doesn't resonate with them, then let's go pick a different lane. Correct. Find somebody who it will.
Yeah, and it's that natural evolution, right? The old early adopters, then you've got 100%. The FOMO. It swings from early adopter to the FOMO people, right?
Correct.
So people now just want to be on board after they've got over their own fear hump of what this is. I mean, that's one of the things I enjoy with the video production company is the product itself. Like, I don't get asked, what is this? Right. Like, here's 200 of them. Right. There's what it is.
I don't know. Is it any good? We'll go.
Right. Now, if you hate it, if you don't like it, then there's no need. We shouldn't talk any further. Correct. Right. So it's not what's on the other side. It's not like coaching. It's like, if you give me money and work with me, I think we could do this, that, and the other. You don't know. Then you rely on testimonials, other people's whatever. But here, like in that particular world, you see it versus is it possible or not? So. All right, a couple more, then we're going to get out of here. Sure. This idea of potentially looking at how you can offer guarantees or risk reversal. So, in terms of reducing friction. So, money back guarantees, we see this. We've seen a rise of this in like the consulting world, in the coaching world. Like, 5 new clients in 60 days, or it's free, or whatever. Right. Some of that's a little. You got to read the fine print on these things. But do you have a product or service that can engage with that, or that can apply to, you've got, the mattress companies, 100 days to try it, 30 days risk-free, those types of things. Sure. Could those become part of your business?
Yeah. And look for some creativity, right? There's some, what you're trying to do is you're trying to instill confidence in the buyer. Mm-hmm. So if you can reduce, like you talk about, reduce some of that friction by giving them more confidence, it's going to bring them closer to you. And maybe it's a money back guarantee. Maybe it's like an alternative offer. If this doesn't work, well, then we'll work with you on something that
That's
will.
Right. That's right.
But you can be creative.
We work on it till it's right, or we get it till it's right, that type of thing. Yeah,
exactly.
So, and then kind of, I think running parallel to that is this idea of, look at some A/B tests. Look at pricing variants, features, maybe some of the things that you package, maybe make them a la carte. Or maybe some of the things that are a la carte in your organization, make them part of a package. Right? Kind of incentivize that. I mean, I think even like with Pecan Jacks, we offer a 3-pack and 4-pack of brittle. I mean, it's not revolutionary. Correct. But by having that augment of the savings, it induces people to want to, particularly if you're new to the brand. Right. I don't want you deciding on one bag of brittle. Right. I'd rather you try. It's almost like your own sampler pack.
Correct.
But now you go, oh, well, for one, I can get $14.95, but I can get a 3-pack for $33, whatever it is.
Correct.
So it's a slight savings.
Right.
But psychologically, it's like, oh, I can try more at a discount. So why don't I go do that? And now we see an uptick instead of trying to get add-on bag sales, we'll see people choosing the bundles.
Right.
Just as a way.
Well, and and then you got the back door because now you're rewarding people for spend as opposed to visits.
Right.
So not only are you giving them ways to do it, to buy more and to try more, you're also rewarding them for doing that.
Right.
And it's the other thing that you talk about, line item versus bundling or packaging. What people like, we want to give them all these choices. Well, there's this philosophy called the paradox of choice.
Yes.
You can give people so many choices that they can't make one.
Yeah, well, the TV company, the Best Buys of the world figured that out.
Correct.
80% of men make the decisions on TVs in the household.
Right.
And we're so stupid, they determine psychologically they can't give us more than 3 choices.
Right.
That's why you'll never, anytime you open a circular or you see a Best Buy ad for TVs, you see good, better, best.
Correct.
You see the Hashitashi 5000, you see the Samsung, you see the Sony.
Right.
Like mid-tier, upper tier, like that's it.
Correct.
Because once we hit 4, we get confused.
Well, right. Absolutely.
All right, let me give you the last one.
Yep.
So keep innovating and staying ahead of trends.
Okay.
I think that's a great one to end on, because if you've got plans for the next 5 or 10 years, you're going to have to pay attention. You don't have to chase every trend or shiny object, but you have to be paying attention so you can then determine. Obviously, AI is a big one.
Right.
People running out to do, the goal is not to do AI so you can say you're doing AI.
Right.
It's how does it fit, identifying how it can fit in your business to enhance your offering, enhance your operational efficiency, enhance your marketing. That becomes the linchpin, not the, oh yeah, we use ChatGPT. We're fully engaged in AI now.
Right.
Paying attention, aware. So keep innovating and stay ahead of trends. I'm putting that under the umbrella of pay attention. And you have to, you don't have to be all gas.
Right.
But you have to have an open mind to engage on things that may be newer to you.
Pay attention to what you do best and lean into the things that you can you can do it better.
Yeah.
So, AI is a tool. We have this conversation a lot because it's an important conversation to have. It is not a fix it or do all or be all for you. Right. It is a tool that can allow you to go faster, to do what you do better. And, if you look at these global brands, all you got to do is look at Kodak. Kodak didn't lean into
stories. Yep.
Yeah, they didn't lean into this technology that they could have embraced.
That's right.
But no, we're not going to do that because that's not for us. Understand that what you do great, there's technology to allow you to do it and continue to stay relevant.
There it is. There it is. Listen, our challenge to you today is to audit your current offer, audit your USP, unique selling proposition. Then look at how you can refine it. Take advantage of these tips, really start the thought process here. And that's what we're really trying to get you to do. We've got more information available for you in Position for Growth, available on Amazon.com or CoryMosley.com. I encourage you to pick up a copy. And if you have a copy already, as my friend Willie Jolly says, you need to be buying 2 copies, one for you and one for a friend or colleague.
100%.
So, all right, that's it for today. We're going to get out of here. Any parting words, LG?
Yeah, pick one thing that you heard today and do something with it.
Yeah.
And then, look, again, thanks for coming, and we hope you'll come back.
That's right. Tell a friend this is your first visit. We hope to see you next week. If you're a long-time listener, we love your continued listenership. Send us an email, say hi. Just walk up to Lon and yell. LG007 if you see him. But we're thankful to have you here, and we will see you next week. This has been another edition of the Grow Business Podcast. For myself, LG007 and Willie H, we thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Willie H, take us out.
Every time I think about In Living Color and that big old box truck on the corner. See you next week.
That one with the
same
guys.
time,
Same
different
planes,
street corner.
Do you have a business card? Excuse me. Bam.
Well, you were talking about the Wayans earlier, and that it made me think about that.
Yeah, great group. Great group, great company.
Yeah.